Kanban versus Scrum? Welcome to a new episode of Tech for Recruiters. Today we are going to talk about agile methodologies, but more specifically we are going to see the differences between Kanban and Scrum. Two concepts that I'm pretty sure you have heard a lot, and sometimes we don't have them well defined. So my mission today is to let you know both differences.
It's okay, we each ripped through a full module this morning. We're just taking a little break. DRM is now a thing of beauty.
Wait, you did DRM?
Yeah?
I did DRM.
Why did you do DRM? I said I would do DRM, you would do error handling.
Anything to do with errors sounds like your whole vibe.
Yeah, I handle errors
Scrum?
every day.
Yes, Scrum.
Scrum.
I bet that you didn't know that the Agile Manifesto was created by Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland. I hope I said the names good. So Scrum and Agile are two methods, two frameworks of the Agile software development methodologies to work in a more efficient way, in an iterative way, basically in a way that we can go and scale and make changes and see how everything is doing. So let's start with Kanban, right? I'm pretty sure you have heard about the Kanban board and how these work, and also Scrum Master and an Agile coach. So an Agile coach is the type of coach that will be doing Kanban, right? Kanban also is a continuous process, so it does not work like with 2-week sprint or 3-week sprint, depending on your product, like Scrum does. Basically, as it is a continuous process, it has no meetings. Basically, if someone has something to ask, they do it independently. And the idea is to have this board and move the tickets from to do to done, right? In different ways. You can do to do, build, test, done. It depends, but that's the main idea, right? And all of these ideas are gotten by the product managers or product owners working with the product backlog. The product backlog comes from the features that what we need to build, how we build it, and the feedback from users and stakeholders. Like that, we get user stories and priorities in the backlog, and with that, we can know what we are going to build. This is the principle of both methodologies, and when we already know what we're going to build, we decide to use one or another. So Kanban is pretty useful for very mature teams because again, it's a continuous process. When something is already done and gets off of the table, actually developers can add new things. So it's a continuous process. It's a continuous process that goes with the flow, basically. And again, it's a process more independent, and it's pretty useful for bigger teams. So for the second side, the Scrum methodology, this is a methodology that is very useful for new made teams or younger teams that need more of an eye on how we do things. These have some ceremonies, as they call them, and the first one is the sprint planning meeting. So basically, here's when the product owner and product manager decides which priorities are going to be made, what is going to be made, and how is going to be made, right? This is gotten from the users and the stakeholders with continuous feedback. So knowing what are we going to build and how we're going to build, we proceed to the next phase. This sprint planning meeting normally can take, the official, as the Agile Manifesto say, it takes 2 hours per week plan. So normally if you make a 2-week sprint, you will use 4 hours divided in 2 meetings. The second ceremony is the daily Scrum. So basically each day the team gathers normally in the morning, and recommended time is 15-minute meeting, in which we will see what we did yesterday, what are we going to do today, and what possible blockers or issues we may face to continue working towards this new feature or this iteration that we're making. After that, the third ceremony is to check how things are going, so we have a sprint review during this time. And finally, the fourth ceremony is the sprint retrospective. So when we already reach this 2-week sprint, we check what things went good, what things went bad, what things we can iterate and better it, and so on. So the idea of the sprint retrospective is to check what happened before. So now let's see the pros and cons of each one. We're going to begin with Scrum. For the pros, it creates accountability, a clear definition of results for the team, and accommodates a change to plans. So if we need to change something, it's flexible in this sense. Also, it allows for planning of large initiatives and therefore have better metrics. And the use time and money is most effective here. Certain cons, it can lead to scope creep if no end date is defined, so it's important to manage end dates. Also, it's harder to manage in large teams. If the team structure changes, it can create a larger impact. It requires team buy-in, which in turn can cause frustration if the full team is not aligned with the approach. And velocity can be easily skewed depending on team and product variables. Now, in comparison with Kanban, the pros of Kanban is that team pickup work as capacity allows. So if you have more capacity, your team will pick the work over there, and it will go with the flow, as we said before. It's less process heavy and more flexible process, not that much many meetings and so on. It's focused on continuous delivery, and it's great for teams with many requests and also more mature teams. Some cons of this: it's harder to plan out, and project large release initiatives may cause poor productivity because it's too flexible. It's easier to misuse the process, so you can have some misses over there, and can be difficult to manage with different priorities and the influx of work. Recruiters, I hope this video has helped you to understand much better this. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and see you in the next episode. Bye!